Hey guys, in this video we're going to cover mirroring. Mirroring is not only very difficult to say, it's also kind of difficult to do. When we are teaching and we are facing students, it is very difficult for them sometimes to understand which part of the body that you want them to use. Here's a great example. If I'm teaching a down block, this is a complex movement. It's got a chamber, it's got a cross here, and then we're gonna bring this back to our hip and we're gonna bring this down in front of us. That's a lot of motions, especially anything that crosses the center line is very difficult for people to understand. Now, if I want them to do it with their right hand and I do it with my right hand, unfortunately, that means we're gonna be on opposite sides. So Miss Becca, go ahead and face me here. Miss Becca is gonna be my student for this video. So if Miss Becca, if I say, Miss Becca, use your right hand, and maybe she's a 6-year-old and this is her very first martial arts class, she has no idea which hand is her right hand, okay? So if I say use your right hand and I punch with this hand, guess which hand she's gonna punch with? She's gonna do it on the exact same side, which is a great opportunity for a fist bump. And you can be like, hey man, that was great effort, but let's do the other side, right? Unfortunately, that's gonna be very, very confusing for her. And my job is to make sure that Miss Becca is successful, especially early on in her training. So what I want to do instead is I want to mirror. So if I say right, I'm actually going to use my left hand. Now don't get me wrong, this is going to get you in trouble once you step off the mats, because you're going to tell people to use their right hand and you're going to do this and they're going to be like, that's not your right hand. You're going to be like, yes, I know. I'm really good at that. Okay, so when we do this, we're going to do this. So if I say, Miss Becca, we're going to be doing a down block with your right hand. So I want you to take your right hand and put it on your shoulder. Wave your right hand. Now, which hand did I just wave? Yes, my left hand. You're absolutely correct, because I want her to use the side that I'm using. We can also use anchors in the room and landmarks and stuff like that, right? I could say, Miss Becca, I want you to use the hand that's closest to the chairs, or the hand that's closest to the doors, or something like that, and that's very helpful. But if I then use the other hand, that's incredibly confusing for her. So I'm going to say, Miss Becca, I want you to use your right hand. Wave your right hand for me. Excellent, that's amazing. Can you give me a thumbs up with that right hand? Awesome. Now I want you to take that right hand and I want you to put it all the way on the other side. Put your pinky on your shoulder. Good. And wrap that thumb in nice and tight. Excellent. Now I want you to take your left hand. It's this one over here. Which hand did I just use? That's exactly right. I used my right hand, even though she's using her left. Now we're going to make a fist. Excellent. We're going to put that fist down in front of us. Now you notice that I'm stepping through this very slowly, especially the first time I teach a technique. Now I'm going to say, okay, I want you to take that hand you put down in front of you. I want you to pull it back to your hip. Excellent, that was amazing. And now I want you to take this hand, the one that's on your shoulder, and I want you to push it down across and lay it in front of your knee. Oh man, that was awesome. Great job. So you notice that everything that I do is on the same side visually that I want her to do it on. Almost like we're doing a same side wrist grab. We say it's the same side wrist grab because it's on the same side of the body, right? Same thing happens with our kicks. A lot of times we have a preferred fighting stance. So my preferred fighting stance is a right leg back stance. Well, if I'm teaching a right leg back stance, I actually have to be doing a left leg back stance if I'm facing the same direction as my students. So if I want Miss Becca to be in a right leg back fighting stance and I'm facing her, I'm going to say, all right, Miss Becca, right leg back fighting stance. Ayah! And now I'm in a left leg back fighting stance. Then I'm going to say, okay, I want you to kick one great front kick with that right leg. If I go and switch because I prefer to kick with my right leg, that's going to be super confusing. So instead, I want to use my left leg. So she's going to bring that knee up. I'm going to say, bring your knee up, kick it out. Excellent. Oh man, that was amazing, Miss Becca. So again, we're kicking on the same side of the body. Here's where it gets messy. If I now turn around because I want to be training with them, which is sometimes important, not only because now she can see what the back of my body looks like during this technique, but also because it allows me to engage with them and say, hey, I'm working hard with you guys. Then I have to immediately switch back to the correct side. Even if I just did 100 front kicks on my right leg because we're doing 100 front kicks on our left leg, and now we're going to do them on the other side, and I want to work with my students, well, guess what? I got to do 100 more on my right leg, okay? My right leg is going to get tired. So be aware of that as you're instructing. You don't want to overdo things on one side or the other, especially if you're doing stretches or something like that. You want to prepare for that. Here are a couple of places where mirroring is not a great idea. When you're doing things like angle steps or like Tai Sabaki, you have to be careful because the mirroring is actually very confusing. So if Miss Becca and I are going to do some angle steps, that's one of our warm-ups that we use to teach footwork, and I say that we're going to go to number 1. Well, number 1 for me is going to be over here. Number 1 for her is going to be over there. If we both go this way, that can be dangerous. It sometimes works, but then we go back, right? Maybe I say number 1 and she goes this way and I go this way, and it kind of works. it's better in this particular way, in this particular event, for me to turn and face the same direction they are, because I'm going to be moving a little bit opposite. Another way that this is a real issue is in Pomse. Because of some of the turns that we have, the turns are wrong if you do them in a mirrored fashion. Okay, so if I'm teaching a Pomse and I'm saying, okay, we're going to go to our left, and we do this first turn and we do it absolutely right, and it's great, boom, and then we go to do our cross step. When we do our cross step and turn all the way around, it's going to be on the wrong side, because now she just turned the same direction I did. And really, I want her to turn the opposite direction I did. So I have to be really careful about when I use mirroring and when I expect them to follow me from behind. Note that when you do this, you're going to gain some experience, okay? You're going to make some mistakes and they're going to do it wrong, and you're going to have to realize, hey, in this particular case, I can't use mirroring. But I want you to practice this skill because it really does set every student up for much greater success. All right, guys, there's the basics of mirroring. Hope it works well for you. Best of luck.